Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Screen Junkies Universe. We're not live today because there's a bug in the system. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Why not? We have studio space, so I count that as a win.
Yeah.
I am Dan Murrell. Joe Starr and Roth Barnett are out on Screen Junkies business today, but joining me, Billy Business.
Can we shame Joe Starr?
Oh.
Because I know Roth is actually doing something, but Joe texted me that he forgot his laptop and was on the bus and had to turn right back around.
I've been there.
And get his
I've
laptop.
definitely done that before.
I'm shaming you, Joe Starr.
No shame in that.
Shame. So shame.
Some shame.
Not shaming today, it's Mr. J. Gilbert.
Present.
So, guys, a lot of stuff to get to. First of all, ROALD DAHL. Everyone knows ROALD DAHL, right?
Yeah.
I hope you do, because you're going to see a lot of them. There is a ROALD DAHL shared universe coming to Netflix. Netflix has announced that they are creating an animated event series based on the books of Roald Dahl, the English author. Ooh. He's a favorite of young readers. I read him when I was a kid, as have many generations now. What?
Sorry, it was just nice that it was a cool animation of a Wonka bar, and then there's just a piece of Netflix paper inside.
Did you think that we'd won? No, you won a shared universe.
Yeah, I won $8.99 a month subscription. Congratulations.
Of course, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Glass Elevator, the sequel book that has not yet been created into a film, but will now be animated. The BFG, Matilda, and then also announced the Twits and George's Marvelous Medicine are all properties that have been announced as part of this universe.
That big old giant peach there.
No peach. No giant peach.
Why no peach?
How do you leave the big peach out?
Disney may still have the rights. They made the animated film way back when. This is where it gets interesting, is there are a lot of these, although Disney just made a movie of the BFG 2 years ago that didn't do great.
Yeah.
BFG is a part of this, but no James the Giant Peach, no Fantastic Mr. Fox, which, of course, Wes Anderson did a stop motion for. The Witches was not announced as part of this universe. However, they will be separate series, but they say that they're creating a story universe that will potentially overlap. Melissa Cobb, VP of Kids and Family Content at Netflix, said there will be threads that connect all of them. We want to do the animation in the style of Dahl. Guys, Netflix has been announcing projects every day. I'm sure there will be 3 more by the end of the day, but a lot of family projects. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, they're doing the Willoughbys, and of course, as we mentioned, Disney launching their own streaming service, which will have a lot of family content. And while Netflix does not release viewership data, it has said that nearly 60% of its customers, or roughly 83 million households, do watch kids and family content. So this could be a play for that. Guys, Netflix continues to lay a lot of money out to make every piece of content imaginable. Roald Dahl, shared animated universe. What do you guys think?
Seems like they're snapping up a lot of literary things, because didn't they also get Narnia as well?
They did. Which also used to be Lewis. Yes.
Taking those Disney sloppy seconds. Yeah, I'm sure in 5 years we'll get Artemis Fowl, the Netflix animated series. I don't know. Maybe the peach is like the Thanos after credits of their big Roald Dahl Avengers.
Just a big shadow goes across the Wonka factory.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they definitely just are trying to save it. I don't know how these all. I never in my mind when I was a kid. I knew Roald Dahl, and I knew like all his books. I loved Willy Wonka and James the Giant Peach and Matilda, but I never thought that they took place in the same world.
No, because they didn't. But I don't know. It doesn't sound like a good idea on the surface. It'd be cool to see some of these things be brought to the screen in like a cool animation style we haven't seen before. That said, you know, there's definitely themes throughout all of his work that kind of make his stories fit together, in the sense that he wrote all of them and he's the same guy. But beyond that, like, it is a kind of interesting world. It's not quite what are those ones with Jim Carrey where he's like the evil Lemony Snicket?
Lemony Snicket, series of unfortunate events.
But it is a world where like adults are sort of evil and sort of stupid. Or just like kind of, it's a little bit subversive for kids. A lot of the kids' parents are either negligent or awful, and Willy Wonka is a serial killer and stuff like that. So I can see, you know, some kids just living in this world where adults are a little off, and it working together. But like, it seems like you're kind of wedging it these are pieces that don't really naturally fit together from like a plot and setting standpoint.
No, the BFG is the one that strikes me as odd because there was just a movie and nobody really cared about it. It did not do particularly well at the box office. This is what I wonder, like, are these going to be, other than the connective threads, straight adaptations? Because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory have now 2 major Hollywood productions of. There's been talk of more Willy Wonka stuff happening. Charlie and the Glass Elevator, that's interesting. That's never been done. Matilda's been done as a film. I wonder how they're going to do these for it to not just feel like they're just doing another version of something that we've already seen. That was my thing with the ones that have previously been adapted. Like, the Roald Dahl stories have a twisted, dark nature to them that I think the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka touched on in its own way, not in the way necessarily that Roald Dahl. But I mean, that's my question: is he's such a has kind of a twisted sensibility. If you're making a play for the kids and family market, how much of that do you think they're going to bleed into these things? No pun intended.
I don't know. It's also like, so am I understanding this right? That like it's going to be like, let's call it a 6-episode miniseries, and 1 episode is BFG, 1 episode's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or is it like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory gets 5 episodes to do its thing, and then
it sounds like different adaptation. I don't know. That's the question: is what is the exact format? How many episodes do each of these have? Are they based on and expand? Are they adaptations exactly, or are they going to completely retroactively rewrite everything to sort of be in this one continuous world? I think that's going to be that's the details.
Also, the Great Glass Wonkavator, I think, turned me off from books as a child.
Oh, no.
I think that's why I stopped reading.
Charlie and the Glass Elevator was not.
No, I was like, because I read the book, or we read the book like in 1st or 2nd grade, and then we watched the movie, and I loved that Gene Wilder movie. And I was like, wait a minute, there's a second one, like after they go into outer space. It is poo. It's
been a while since I read it.
It's so poo. It's so poo compared to the first one. It's terrible, and I was like, that's why I stopped reading.
So poo.
Yeah.
It turned you off reading
turned me
all
off of
together?
books.
They've made more books since then.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
I learned at a young age that reading can only bring
You ever
pain.
see a bad movie? They're out there. You gotta be careful.
No, I find the silver lining in everything except the Wonkavator.
Yeah, I think that maybe they could do like a dark universe, like a Mummy thing, where there's like some kind of secret agent and
Slugsworth.
Slugworth.
A Slugworth. Yeah, just follow Slugworth.
He's the Agent Coulson of this entire.
Yeah, he's going around spooking different kids and testing their morals to see if they can inherit a candy factory.
All right.
Wait, Matilda's magic though, right? Or she does magic?
She's like Carrie.
Shouldn't she have?
She is she's
shouldn't
little
she
Carrie.
have used her magic to find a golden ticket? Isn't she far more qualified to run a
She didn't
chocolate
know she
factory?
lived in the same universe.
But now she's gonna know.
Yeah.
I would like to see some history rewritten. Matilda be in the mix.
I think you should call Netflix, Billy, because they're probably stocking a writer's room right now.
I mean,
Matilda
if
and
this
the
is
Chocolate
successful,
Factory.
they're gonna want season 2s of these things, right?
What is successful?
That's true.
That's the thing with Netflix is you never know what's a success and what's not. You just have to watch something and hope and pray that the Computron in charge of renewing things.
Yeah, no, it's like 0.07 more soccer moms signed up in the Midwest.
Yeah,
like greenlit.
Joe McHale does not have the appeal to 18 to 35-year-olds that he did in 2007.
No, it's more like 18 to 18-and-a-half-year-olds living in suburban New York.
I liked the Joe McHale show, and too bad. He's
Yeah,
not
well,
making
it got
any
you
more.
to sign up, or it got someone to sign up.
Apparently
cancel.
not. I don't know.
I mean, I did my due diligence over Thanksgiving and watched the Christmas Chronicles. So if I don't get a sequel to that, then
Is that
that's the Kurt Russell Santa movie. It's so
not done it
awful.
yet.
I loved it.
Okay.
It's so bad. It's like definitely in my Christmas rotation from now on.
All right. Well, maybe the Christmas Chronicles will tie to the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it'll all be one homogenous Netflix universe.
Perfect.
We'll find out. Let's stay on the kids' literature train, guys.
My
Disney.
favorite train.
Yeah. What a train. One of my favorites.
We're all both of those things. Kids and literate.
Hot off A Wrinkle in Time, Disney. Sorry. Disney released their first teaser trailer for another adaptation of a series of popular kids' books this time, Artemis Fowl. These are 8 novels that were published between 2001 to 2012 by the Irish writer, and I know I'm not going to get this first name right, but Ewan Colfer.
Kenneth Branagh. Oh, that's the director.
That's the director. Kenneth Branagh is directing this film. Josh Gad, Judi Dench, Ferdia Shaw, Larry McDonnell, part of the ensemble. It comes out next August, so this is just a first look. But Artemis Fowl coming to theaters next summer, guys. I have to admit, I am not familiar at all.
Dan, I'm
going to
have to admit, I'm
here.
also not familiar with the source material. Billy?
Guys, going for the hat trick here. Never heard of it until it was trending this morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there are a lot of fans of these books, and I'm sure they have their own perspectives that we will delve into as the movie adaptation gets closer. But yeah, I have to go by this trailer as far as what
Judi
I'm thinking.
Dench?
She is.
She looks like the collector.
I was thinking Kim Jong Un. Actually, there were several. I
When
thought
Grandma
the
farts.
there were several things. I thought that the little turning thing was like an arc reactor. I thought the text looked like Doctor Strange. I thought this was. Guys, there's a Disney look that's starting to emerge.
There's the Men in Black.
That looks to me like Doctor Strange. With all the weird symbols and runes.
Yeah.
So that was the one thing that kind of struck me is there is a look that has emerged now for Disney films that kind of make them all bleed together for me, if I'm being honest, particularly outside of their respective cinematic universes. I think Nutcracker looks like Wrinkle in Time, looks like Artemis Fowl, looks like Tomorrowland. That for me is one thing. Yeah, this is a teaser, but for me, it didn't do a lot. I felt like I did the first time I saw the Wrinkle in Time trailer, which was just like, I don't really know the book that well, but just from a movie standpoint, it just kind of looks weird and
Sure. I mean, obviously none of us are qualified to talk about this in the sense that I'm sure there are things that people are like, oh my God,
right,
that's the guy with the thing. I'm so happy to finally see him. They did such a great and/or horrible job. I'll check on Twitter later what they did. Yeah, but yet to me it was like, okay, this looks like A Wrinkle in Time was the closest comp where it's like, okay, I'm not too familiar with the source material. This is going to be a visual delight with some kind of YA pablum that they're just dripping down my throat for the rest of it. And that's fine. That's fine because it's not for us, Dan.
Yeah, but that's what people said about Wrinkle in Time. They're like, well, but the book has enough appeal, and it did not.
Right.
It did not have enough appeal, and I don't think a lot of the fans of the book were particularly pleased by the movie. So there's this concept with Disney of, if you market to the hardcore fans, is that enough? And anecdotal evidence would say maybe not. I don't know. What do you think, Bill?
I don't know. The thing is, like, if you market to those hardcore fans, they're probably in reality going to be the ones that are going to judge this more harshly than anybody.
Yeah.
I would think that you'd probably be better off trying to get to people who don't know what these things are. Like, you know, I think back to like Hunger Games, and my sister like loved those Hunger Games books, and we saw the movie. She's like, this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong. I was like, I liked it. I didn't know any better. So for this particular trailer, I agree, man. I feel like they must have had like a first look deal with the production designer, and so he has to do every production design for Disney. Like, it looks like Men in Black with some Wrinkle in Time, with some Iron Man. Yeah, it just, I don't know what's happening. I don't know that. I get it. It's teaser. It's supposed to pique my interest, but also like pique it enough where it's like, I kind of see where this might be, but I have questions. I want to know more. And this is like, this is just stuff. Yeah. This is just stuff and things, and weird voices and Judi Dench farts, and I don't know what's happening.
Should we just speculate to really piss off the hardcore fans of the series what we think the movie's about?
Oh God! If you'd like to, go ahead. But I get corrected enough on what I legitimately get wrong. I'm not going to do it on purpose.
I mean, you know, it's clearly Artemis is the last of the Fowls, which is an ancient race of birdmen who've been cursed with eternal youth. And it's only Judi Dench, leader of the Dragonfly Gang, who can awaken Artemis to his true destiny, which is to reclaim the iron roost at the top of the world, whereupon he can right all the wrongs brought about by what doesn't like birds. what's plural of mongoose? Mongoose?
Mongoose.
The mongoose.
Mongoose.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of an Animorphs meets...
I didn't realize that mongoose and bird were such an iconic rivalry in the world.
You
of
haven't
nature.
heard that phrase? They went at it like a mongoose and a bald eagle. No.
No.
Okay.
But I'll find out.
I think Artemis, the young man, is an orphan, and then he finds out from the older gentleman in the other Men in Black suit that he is in the long line of Fowls. His father Gregorius, his grandfather Copernicus Fowl. I think. And
So he's going to go on a hero's journey.
He's going to go on the hero's journey to be a foul agent. It's like Wanted. It's basically Wanted for children.
Yeah.
Where he finds out he's like a top underground assassin.
And then Judi Dench gets out of the
Judi Dench,
resurrection bath
yeah.
and lets her towel fall seductively.
Judi Dench, he finds out later, is his grandmother, the wife of Copernicus Fowl.
Oh, wow.
She's Lady Fowl.
Lady Fowl. Hence the farting. Cool. Here's something I feel bad about as far as properties at Disney. Like if you have a movie like Wrinkle in Time or Artemis Fowl or Christopher Robin even at Disney.
Shared universe.
That first of all, yes. But secondly, I feel so bad for them because they know that they're never going to get the prime real estate. Because the Marvels and the Pixars and now the live action remakes
and the Star Wars
and the Star Wars all have like the juicy dates left, and then you have a movie like Artemis Fowl and they're like early August, that's all we got, take it or leave it. Or like Wrinkle in Time, it's just like March.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're in between two Marvel movies. Sorry, that's what we got for you. Or like Christopher Robin is like early August. Pete's Dragon was early August, and like Pete's Dragon I thought was a pretty good movie. Christopher Robin was it ended up doing like okay, but I feel like if that were like a Christmas movie, Christopher Robin could have done like $300 million. But they're like, I got Mary Poppins here, and I got Ralph here, and I've got Ant-Man here. August. That's what I got for you.
Maybe it shouldn't all be one company. Maybe one company shouldn't own all the movies.
I would rather take
That's
August.
crazy talk. That's
crazy
I'd rather take August though than like, look, we have Incredibles 2 June 6th and we have Avengers on June 20th. You can have June 13th. I'd be like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, give me a fighting chance here.
I just feel bad that like, you know, Artemis Fowl I think does have a fan base, and unless Star Wars goes away, which it's not, like they will never get Christmas. There was a time, like a Harry Potter, like they got like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Thanksgiving, that's incredible. And then they got like nice summer dates in the middle of July, and they made all this money, and now it's just like, how does the third week in April sound? I just feel bad for some of these franchises that look at these like, you could like put out nothing, you could like poop on film and make like $150 million during the holidays, and they're like, sorry, I have nothing for 17 years during the holidays.
You get March or August.
March got to rely on the Fowlies. What do the Artemis Fowl fans call themselves?
Owl Nation.
Owl Nation. You just got to rely on Owl Nation to show up. Fowl Nation. Flock together.
Hooty hoo. All right. No real good segue to this, but there was some sad news again. This was something that I think a property that successfully transitioned from something that was for kids that I think really found a home amongst teenagers, adults, a very wide swath of fans, very successful franchise. Steven Hillenburg, who created the just monster hit for many decades now, almost 2 decades, SpongeBob SquarePants, passed away yesterday. He was 57 years old. He revealed in March of last year that he had been diagnosed with ALS. Nickelodeon released a statement that said, "We are incredibly saddened by the news that Steve Hillenburg has passed away following a battle with ALS. He was a beloved friend and longtime creative partner to everyone at Nickelodeon, and our hearts go out to his entire family. Steve imbued SpongeBob SquarePants with a unique sense of humor and innocence that has brought joy to generations of kids and families everywhere. His utterly original characters in the world of Bikini Bottom will long stand as a reminder of the value of optimism, friendship, and the limitless power of imagination." From 1993 to 1996, Steven Hillenburg worked in television as a director and writer on Rocko's Modern Life, which is of my era. Excuse me. From there, he began to work full-time on writing, producing, and directing the series that would eventually become SpongeBob SquarePants, which has aired nearly 250 episodes to date. And as I mentioned, kids, college students, a lot of parents watching with their kids. And I remember the first time I heard about this was my best friend when I was in high school, I think, was he worked at a gym and like where you drop the kids off so you can go work out or just get some time away from the kids. And they was always on Nickelodeon, and he told me about this show. He's like, I have to watch all this terrible stuff all day. He's like, but there's this show called SpongeBob SquarePants. I was like, that sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's like, I know. He's like, it's amazing. I was like, really? And I turned it on. I think that's sort of the separation is it is rare to find a show that can genuinely speak to people of so many different ages and from different walks of life. And Steven Hillenburg was able to do that with this show.
Yeah. I mean, it's rare because like, or it might just seem rare because I don't watch much children's TV anymore, but I really think that was the golden age, was from Rocco to SpongeBob, right in that late 90s zone where there was just so much time and care and humor that was working on multiple levels put into them that I think it raised an entire generation on better stuff than what came before and what came after. So it's super sad to I had no idea he was suffering from this, and it's a real bummer that we lost him.
We talked in our Elf commentary earlier today about how Elf was that the last classic Christmas movie.
Yeah.
That's another thing that they don't pump out, it doesn't seem like, as frequently as maybe they used to, which is just like really iconic children, like kids characters. And SpongeBob is like, he's up there with, as far as animation goes, I mean, he's up there with, you name it, like as far as like recognizable, successful, popular animated characters. They don't come around that often. Billy, were you a SpongeBob fan? Did you watch a lot of SpongeBob?
It's funny, I never watched this show, and then about a month or so ago, I went on a family vacation with my wife and her family, and they all, for like an hour on one of the plane rides, just started talking about SpongeBob and like inside jokes, and I was like, what? This is so weird that this whole like two 60-year-olds and a 20-year-old are all talking about this joke and just like dying laughing on the plane. So when we came home, I bought on Amazon, it's like the first 100 episodes on disc. I was like, okay, we got to watch this because I need to figure out what this is. And it's like really funny. It has like it's not quite as esoteric and like as Ren and Stimpy, but it does have a lot of like the same kind of characteristics, and it's not so in your face. Like, I don't know, my niece sometimes I see the stuff that she watches now, like on Disney Channel or Nickelodeon Kids. It's like so fast. I'm like, how do you know what you're watching? Like, it's all happening too fast. But yeah, there's some really funny stuff in this. So I'm a little late to the party, but still enjoying it.
And when we talk about multimedia, there's a SpongeBob movie still coming out, I think next year or the year after. There was already a SpongeBob movie. Obviously the show on Nickelodeon. There was a Broadway show. And then what I was thinking about was like, of all the television shows, I think SpongeBob is the most memed as far as like, I have seen more SpongeBob
For meme
memes.
Literacy alone, you have to know SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Otherwise you won't get what's happening.
You're not going to know what's happening.
Yeah.
So that is truly rare to create something like that. Steven Hillenburg, 57, is so young. You know, if there's anything that positive to be taken away, it's the fact that his legacy will continue to live on through SpongeBob. That character will endure. His works will be remembered for many years, many decades to come. Obviously, you know, our thoughts with his family, with his coworkers, his friends, you know, and this show, which really touched a lot of people, and I think was really important to a lot of generations of kids and adults. So, lastly, and this is kind of an interesting thing, that Guillermo del Toro, I love how he just drops nuggets out just into the world, out of the blue. He went on Twitter to talk about the process of development and the sheer amount of time lost due to projects that he spent developing and writing that were never completed. Now, these are things that he announced, that these are not just concepts that he had. These were things that he said were written, fully written, that went through multiple rounds of notes, that went through multiple rounds of development, that he had fully developed, that just weren't made. And then he just list it out. Here, these are the projects, I think 18 projects that he had written or co-written that were never done. So let's just go through them and let's talk about The Witches. We just talked about The Witches for Roald Dahl. Justice League Dark, Beauty and the Beast, At the Mountains of Madness, Fantastic Voyage, The Count of Monte Cristo, Mephisto's Bridge, Pacific Rim 2, which he said was very different from the one that we got. No shocker there. Secret Project, Untitled Secret Project. Superstitious, Nightmare Alley, Haunted Mansion.
I remember that one.
A TV pilot for The Hulk, The Buried Giant, The Coffin, Drood, List of Seven, which he co-wrote with Mark Frost, and The Wind in the Willows. First of all, can we see all? I want the Rick and Morty portal gun to just go see all of these that he actually got the green light to develop. But guys, is there one in here that you're like, I need to see this?
Well, the interesting thing is, like, I feel like it's only been maybe since Shape of Water or maybe the film before that where now we actually have a chance to see all of these. Because writing things that don't get made is a very regular occurrence for every writer, director, and filmmaker. Like, you develop something and then somebody doesn't want to give you $100 million to make it. Like, that happens more often than not. So now I feel like he's finally getting to make his dream fascist Pinocchio project. like he can now just go back through the list and be like, well, I really want to see Count of Monte Cristo. I think that would be awesome. And yeah, Haunted Mansion. Considering he like sort of lives in one, if you've seen his manor, is really cool.
I didn't know that, but that doesn't shock me.
Yeah, it's just like he's just so obsessed with monsters and paraphernalia and gothic stuff that it's very cool. Yeah, I think I want to also see the alternate world Pacific Rim too, because that I feel like could have gone to a much careful and well-reasoned place than the second one.
Well, the second one just felt like a completely different movie.
Yeah,
it didn't. I mean, it had giant Jaegers in it, but it looked different. It felt different. It was a completely different tone. Did he not list The Hobbit though in all of these things?
Nope,
like I would. That's kind of a big one.
Yeah,
that he spent a lot of time on. Obviously, The Hobbit, a huge Guillermo del Toro project that he developed that was, essentially scrapped at the last minute and completely redone by Peter Jackson into the Hobbit trilogy, as it became, instead of 2 movies. What was this Hulk TV pilot that, what was his TV pilot for the Hulk?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
What network was it for?
Right.
There's so many questions.
A network of crystal balls connecting different decrepit haunted places. But yeah, I imagine it would have been like a more moody, dark version of the Hulk, maybe a darker update of the 70s TV show where it's just kind of a sad guy wandering from town to town, occasionally being filled with rage.
There's so many, there's so many that I know, like Fantastic Voyage and Count of Monte Cristo and Justice League, I'm almost Drood.
What is
or The Buried Giant. What are these? Maybe some people know, but Haunted Mansion. Yeah, it's just
Haunted
so
Mansion,
crazy.
I don't know if that's like one of those things where I have a false memory, but I don't think so. But I remember I was working for at San Diego Comic-Con. This was like 2011, 2010.
Yeah.
And people were coming out of a panel that he was in with posters for Haunted Mansion that I don't know if I had a release date on it, but I remember people walking out with Haunted Mansion posters. I was like, that's going to be awesome, because that Eddie Murphy movie is gross. Justice League Dark also, I don't know what kind of run he would have done on it, but man, there's especially when the New 52 launched, if he wrote it around that time, there was some really dark stuff with Animal Man and the Rot and all that stuff. So it could have been really cool, but what a bummer. I'd at least like to read a lot of these if they're never going to get made.
That's the thing.
Somewhere.
I don't think they're a bummer. I think that now he can get these made. I think people.
Well, Justice League Dark,
maybe not that.
Maybe not. And
I don't think the Hulk pilot.
The Hulk pilot, Beauty and the Beast, probably not. Fantastic Voyage. Oh my God. Yeah. Would I love to see that? Yeah, you're right. He definitely has more leverage here, that he could make some of these, but there are others like The Hobbit, Pacific Rim 2, that are not going to happen. That I'm just like, I want to see those.
Even Wind in the Willows would be interesting, because I think they did an animated version with the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. It was half of it. Then they did some really weird 80s one that was kind of live action that was really unnerving. It was really
I have to see this now.
Yeah, it's very weird, but I would like to see I want to see him do a Disney movie. When I look at this list, I'm like, do Haunted Mansion or Wind in the Willows.
What if all of these are set in fascist Italy?
Yeah,
and he just finally got Pinocchio to work. You're talking about the Haunted Mansion. You know, Pirates of the Caribbean got so big. I think people forgot that it was at one time a series of movies, including The Country Bears with Christopher Walken and Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy that were turned into. Country Bears is a movie.
No,
starring
really
Christopher Walken.
And isn't
I've heard about
he's a real estate.
I do remember this.
He's a real Haley Joel Osment is a voice. He's a real estate developer. And I'm tearing down Country Bear Hall. He's like wants to tear down the Country Bears venue and build his own thing there.
Yeah,
you have to look up. Because Christopher Walken is so weird. There's just a scene where he's in his office and he has a model of the Country Bear Hall and he has a giant anvil that's hanging above it, and he pushes a button on his desk and it crushes Country Bear Hall and just goes, "Oh no, Country Bear Hall has been crushed." And then he like takes it off and puts another model on it and crushes it. It's so weird. But when people talk about Pirates of the Caribbean and why it was a sleeper hit, it's because it was coming at the tail end of these weird ass bad movies. I don't know. I hadn't thought about the Country Bear movie in many years, and I just wanted to put that back out.
Put that right back in my brain.
Looking that up.
On that note, guys, that's the end of today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry we couldn't go live. Hopefully we'll get it up as soon as we can. Obviously we did because you're watching it. I don't know why I just said that. So much to watch, though, also on the channel. The Honest Trailer for Elf came out today. As well as the Honest Trailer commentary here on Screen Junkies News. Tomorrow morning, I think I said on Charting yesterday that it was coming out today. It's hard to pre-tape and get my dates right. Tomorrow morning, bright and early. Wednesday, Roth and I will have our review of Into the Spider-Verse. So if you're an early riser here on the West Coast or a normal person on the East Coast, check that out. And then, oh wow, this is fun. Movie fight, Billy. Tell us about what's going on with movie fights this week.
This is a big one. This is the road to the championship. We have 3 amazing fighters. One of them gets a title shot at this man over here. Could either be Clark Wolf, Greg Alba, or Mark Andreyko. All 3 of them extremely tough.
Now here's a question, Billy. Do I have to, as I drop my pen, do I have to recuse myself as a judge this week because you know I technically I shouldn't be picking who challenges me for the belt. We'll have to talk about this.
This is an interesting thought that has not crossed my mind. We might have to put the professor in.
We may have to put the professor in because
happy belated, professor.
Even subconsciously, not that there's an easy choice. For either of these 3 are a very difficult fight, but yeah, we'll have to talk about that. We don't want any hashtag controversy on movie fights.
Nope.
No. We want to trend for the right reasons.
Yes, exactly. Billy Business, Spencer J. Gilbert, thank you for joining me at the table here today, and thank you for joining us today on Screen Junkies Universe. I didn't know I was hosting, so I wasn't in host mode, really. So
some or more of us will join you tomorrow. Maybe less.
Some portion of this panel will be here tomorrow morning. Maybe we'll be live, maybe we won't be. We keep you guessing here at Screen Junkies News.
That's the promise.
Either way, thanks for watching. See you later.